Oh, hello, Charlotte. My, aren't you looking beautiful today? Salutations, Charlotte's Web 1973 and Charlotte's Web 2006. 1973 animated adaptation of E.B. White's book, directed by Charles Nicholas and Iwo Tomoko, and the 2006 live action adaptation directed by Gary Nitwig and both adaptations tell the story mostly beat by beat from the book. You know the drill. A uh, farm girl, Fern, prevents her father from slaughtering the runt piglet of the newborn litter, and she names him Wilbur and becomes like his mother. So when Wilbur is sold to Fern's uncle, Homer Zuckerman, just down the street. Wilbur's life is on the line as Zuckerman plans to one day slaughter Wilbur for his bacon and ham for Christmas, and it's up to the lovable arachnid Charlotte Acre-Vassica to use her extraordinary web and words to save Wilbur's life. Now, this both Charlotte's Web movies were requested by my good subscriber and buzzer Charlie. So, Charlie, this review is dedicated to you. I hope you enjoy hearing my honest thoughts, and boy, do I have a special treat for you guys today, giving my thoughts on two, well, iconic childhood movies from my childhood in a double review. I'm going to talk about the 1973 animated one first, because that's the one I grew up with before the 2006 one. I had the 1973 animated one on VHS, and it does hold a special place in my past and upbringing in these, and so I may be a little biased and more generous to it than others. I had no idea at the time this was also a Hanna-Barbera movie, and the songs were written by the Sherman Brothers. Well, they put that talent to a jolly good use, because Charlotte's Web 1973 is some movie. It is terrific, radiant, and humble. To quote all the words that are woven into Charlotte's Web, well, uh, the filmmakers behind this animated adaptation certainly wove their magic into their version of the story, even if E.B. White was dissatisfied with this film, which most authors at that time weren't happy with adaptations of their work. They could be picky, but I think if he'd had seen that sequel We Don't Talk About, Charlotte's Web 2 Wilbur's Great Adventure, he would have despised that one way more, because at least Charlotte's Web 1973, like the book, it has a tremendous heart and an incredibly cute movie, but bursting with charm. The animation by 1973 standards, it may not be on the same level as Disney at that time, but it doesn't need to be. I think the simplicity and sketchiness of the animation works so well. It's like it looks so much like the illustrations of the book are just came to life, and Debbie Reynolds voices the our titular spider, my favorite spider in any media period, Charlotte. Finally, a spider in a movie and book that is not a nightmarish monster. She's not Aragog. She is not Shelob. It's rare to find uh, characters that are a true friend and author, and Charlotte's it is both, to her quotes, the closing quote of the story. But I think Debbie Reynolds of the two Charlottes is the slightly stronger one. As yeah, this is one of Debbie Reynolds's best roles to me. Has her nurturing voice is extremely motherly, and uh, her human-like face designer and does make her so beautiful. It's and it doesn't look creepy at all. They made it look so natural, and I think this adaptation also did Wilbur and the farm animals slightly better too. I get that Wilbur's voice actor doesn't sound like a kid and may sound too old for the role. But to me, it works because Wilbur was supposed to grow and come of age in the story, and so by the end, his more adult voice fits so well. And being an animated hand drawn piggy, the animators had the opportunity to have Wilbur legit cry and show some emotions when he thinks he realizes he could be slaughtered and uh, learns about death from Charlotte, who and realizes that he's not going to have his friends forever. So you empathize with this Wilbur just a tad more. Also, Templeton's design in this version is absolutely terrific, making him look like a slime baller, but a funnier slime ball at the same time, and even the the goose and the sheep are so much more memorable here than they are in the live action one. It helps that this version has less barn animals at Zuckerman's farmer than in the live action one, and the less characters you have, the more room for development that there is for them. And while Fern's parents and her brother are not as much focused on in this version, other than her brother's obsession with frogs. Fern, I think they got spot on in this animated one, as they show how much she cares for Wilbur more than anything in the world, and their song, There Must Be Something More, as deeply touching as Charlotte's song to Wilbur, and I love that Fern comforts Wilbur when Wilbur uh, crying his eyes out, missing Charlotte. The book and the live action one kind of forget about Fern in uh, the third act, but this version doesn't, which I was glad to see, and to get to the songs, because this is surprisingly a musical, and I think that's what may turn some people off because of the corny moments and some of the corny songs. But I think only one or two songs I think could have been cut. So like Wilbur's song "I Can Talk," yeah, that was totally unnecessary. We didn't need to see a song for the first time we see the story from Wilbur's point of view. Chin Up is a lovely uplifting number from Charles, and the Fair song by Mama Goose and Templeton. Yeah, that is the funniest song in the movie, and it does encourage Templeton to uh, go and play a key role in saving Wilbur's life at the fair. But of course, there must be something more. Fern's song and Charlotte's final song to Wilbur. I mean, they are uh, my two favourite songs here, and this is the movie that will make arachnophobes cry. Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that was possible. I also love how Charlotte does let Wilbur know that Fern will always love him, but she is growing up and will at some point live her own life. And I do think this version is better paced than the live action one, because Charlotte's children hatch from their egg sag, and not long after Wilbert returns to the barn, and we get to meet Charlotte's three daughters. So yeah, I do uh, think highly of the 1973 animated one, and I'm surprised to see how many people favour the live action one. So I think the animated one has now become underrated. And now moving on to the 2006 live action one, and this is a uh, still a worthy adaptation. It's just though it just like the 1973 one is not exactly the masterpiece that it could have been. So so this is a good version, but not a great one to me. I did get to see the live action one in cinemas with my mum and sister, which was a true privilege. And and yeah, I mean, Paramount and Nickelodeon movies are certainly wanted to uh, be true to the book, but also wanted to make this a talking animal family film. And yeah, it doesn't exactly feel that different from other talking animal movies in the 2000s, like Racing Stripes or the modern Dolittle trilogy. And this movie came out the exact same year as Doctor Dolittle 3, my favourite Doctor Dolittle movie. But I do love that the majority of the animals are real, and they just like a Wilbur's real, the horse is real, the sheep are real, the geese are real, and they animated their mouths to talk, unlike these days, which are just lazily CGI animals all the time. With the exceptions of Charlotte and Templeton, I mean, Templeton, and I do get so that it would be harder to train a real rat to act, and of course, so with Charlotte, they had no choice but to CGI those characters. But the CG on them still holds up today, and nearly 20 years later, and though this film did release 33 years after the original Charlotte's Web adaptation, so that one felt closer to the period setting of the book, whereas this one felt a little more modern and like it just took place in the 2000s. That says the 2006 one is well cast. Like Dakota Fanning is a good Fern, even if I wish she wasn't uh, taken out of the third act, and Julia Roberts is such a good Charlotte, and yeah, Steve Buscemi as Templeton. That's a role suits him so well. I instantly recognised Randall from Monsters Inc. when I heard this rat talk, and John Cleese as the sheep, and Oprah Winfrey as a Mama Goose, and Cedric the Entertainer, Maurice from Madagascar as the Father Goose, and Kathy Bates as the cow. Even if I wish the characters, the farm animals were more memorable, and the cows weren't reduced to fart jokes. But the actors are still did a great job with the vocal performances. Though the two crows that appear that follow Templeton wherever he goes completely unnecessary. Why were they in this movie? I do not know. I mean, and people complain about the crows from Dumbo. At least the crows from Dumbo are served a stronger narrative purpose. These crows did not serve a single purpose in Charlotte's Web, uh, and I I do think that this film does try to develop the supporting characters. We get to know Fern's family more, uh, Mrs. Zuckerman gets more to do. Fern's mother does go to the doctor concerned about her daughter's obsession with the barn and the words getting into the web. So that begs the question: why that's also a flaw with the book. Why the fuck don't Fern's family make more effort to change Zuckerman's mind about slaughtering Wilbur? Fern's the only one who gives a shit about saving Wilbur, but you think she would put her foot down to her uncle even more? And yeah, why if there's no excuse for Homer Zuckerman to not to just to get a porker from his local store. If he slaughters his niece's pig, she will never speak to him again. Surely he realizes that's. I mean, he does come round in the end when he spares Wilbur after Wilbur receives a special medal at the fair, and you're like, Fern's mama, don't worry about uh, your daughter not being who you want her to be. Just to get over to Zuckerman's farm and try to save her pig. It's the least you could do. And Fern's father and brother in this version were mostly unlikable. Like Fern's father, he's like, "Oh, sorry, honey, but Wilbur's gonna be slaughtered. Nothing we can do about it. That's what happens to pigs when they grow up." Fern's brother straight up tries to squash Charlotte by putting her in a jar, but thankfully Wilbur does get to save her life by biting her brother's trousers. I do like that they gave Wilbur that opportunity to protect Charlotte. I also uh, don't think Charlotte's farewell is quite as powerful here. I mean, well, while I while both versions are bold for teaching kids about death and about the cycle of life, it's I do think Charlotte singing the song to Wilbur just hit a little harder and brought more of a tear to my eye. And the live action version isn't a musical, so there are no songs in this one, which is fine, but the soundtrack to me isn't quite as memorable or as catchy. Other than the end credits song in the credits, that was beautiful, and it is lovely to see illustrations from the book in the opening and the end credits. And Sam Sheffield, rest in peace to him, did do brilliantly at narrating the film for sure. Uh, Overall, yeah, Charlotte's Web 2006. It's got lots of merit to it, so even if it's not my favorite version of the story, but I'm still glad I got to see it, and I would watch it over Charlotte's Web 2 Wilbur's Great Adventure easily. Yeah, both adaptations get a pass from me. I give Charlotte's Web 1973 4 stars out of 5. Great movie. And I give Charlotte's Web 2006 3 stars out of 5. Good movie. So yeah, I will someday rant on Charlotte's Web 2 Wilbur's Great Adventure, currently the worst and only bad Charlotte's Web movie ever made. But until then, yeah, I will get to some of your requests, like my Ultron Rising review, which I'm so sorry I have put that review off for some time. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this double review. And what's your favourite adaptation of Charlotte's Web? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.